Hello and welcome to today's lesson. It's no coincidence that I'm wearing this shirt because we're going to do a very famous tune by the Scottish Melodeon master Sir Jimmy Shand. This is called the Bluebell Polka. I say it's by him, it was made famous by him. Actually written by a chap called F.Stanley, not quite sure when, but the version that we all know of course is the wonderful one played on a B, C, C sharp Melodeon by Sir Jimmy in the last century. The video that got me into playing Melodeon in the first place was one that was recorded I think in the 90s when he was about 85, still going strong, still playing really well. I had absolutely no idea what a Melodeon was at that time, let alone the fact that he was playing a B, C, C sharp, and what a tricky beast that is to deal with. I've had a couple of goes at this over the years on my Melodeon blogs. First of all on a DG, but it's going to be different, very different to the way I'm going to show you today. And then when I got a 3-row ADG, I then played the whole thing cross-road, which is quite weird, not the normal way of doing it. And finally, 6.5 years later, I have come up with a lesson for it on the DG Melodeon with accidentals. Now, you will need a Melodeon with accidentals to play this. If you've got low notes at this end of your box, you're not going to be able to play this tune. You definitely need the accidentals. There's a couple of little fudges we have to do because we actually don't have a particular note in the B part. Years ago I had one of the squeaky notes retuned to that note, but we're not bothering that today. Just going to show you a way of fudging your way through that, but we are going to start with the introduction, which is kind of part of the A part. Going to take it nice and slowly, so let's get started. Now this is a metronome beating at 120 beats per minute. That's the kind of tempo I'm going to show you the tune at. I mean, it's played a lot faster than that, but always when you're learning something, the recommendation is to play it slowly and build your speed up gradually. So that's the speed I'm going to play this tune at. And yes, it is a little slow, but you'll be able to hear and see what I'm doing much more clearly that way, I think. This tune is in 3 different keys, 3 parts, 3 keys. A part is in the key of G, B part is in the key of D, and the C part is in the key of C. That's easy to remember, isn't it? C part in the key of C, C major of course, and that's when our button on the top here giving us 2 accidentals really comes into play. More of that later. First thing you're going to need to do is pull your bellows out. I'm using a small Castanari Lily here, so I don't have a lot of capacity in my bellows, but there's an awful lot on the push to start with in this tune, so I recommend pulling your bellows out before you start. The first bit is a run-up. It's in a bar which is incomplete, so we call it bar 0. This Melodeon is a 4th button start. 4th button down, if I press that button, push the bellows in, that's G. So if I put my fingers down like that, that's what I call the home position, or pos H for short. So pos plus 1 is 1 down from that. You can probably hear the tune starting to come through there just by playing those 4 notes sequentially. So the first 3 notes are all on that G row, all on the push, B, D, G. And you can see there's a tiny number 3 under those 3 notes telling you that that's a triplet. And you're going to count 1, 2, 3. And you come in on beat 4 and you count that 4 anna. 1, 2, 3, 4 anna. Now a triplet is 3 notes played where 2 normally go. You normally have 2 quavers here. Here you're spreading 3 quavers over the time that 2 take. So that's a pretty straightforward start, but make sure you get it nice and smooth. And in fact, in the next bar, bar number 1, on the first complete bar in stave 2, you're going to complete that run. The little finger falls nicely on the note B, so you go from B to B, octave apart. See? So you count 1, 2, 3, and you play 2 Bs in a row there. So practice doing that smoothly. It takes a little bit of practice to get that and running nicely like that. Having played that pickup bar, like I say, you play 2 Bs and see that the note sits in the space above the first ledger line above the stave. And while you play those 2 Bs, you're going to play two basses, a G bass and a G chord, these two buttons down here, all on the push. Everything's been on the push so far. The pickup bar had an NC written above it, meaning no chords, and no left hand for that pickup bar. But here we play some basses, like I've said. So those two Bs are on the first two beats of the bar. Still pushing, you play the note G, which is the button above the one you just played, still pushing, and you have a C bass on the push. You'll notice on the push because on my music I put an asterisk on any C or D basses that are on the push, because you can get C and D basses on the pull as well, can't you? Now on beats 3 and 4, you've got a bit of a strange arrangement. You've got crotchet, quaver as triplets. So that gives us that kind of rumpty-tumpty feel. See, 3 and 4, or 3 and a 4 and a. Okay, so you have G on the push, same button pulled out, gives you F sharp, and then you play G on the push again, and the button above pulled out gives you E. So it's G, F sharp, G, E. And both times you play the Gs, you've got C bass to start with, and then C chord. See? So it's. Okay, let's go from the beginning. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's beginning to take shape. So in bar 3, you're pushing all the way through the bar. You're running down through the chord D, D, B, G. And notice the change of position there. On the last note of that bar, you go from position +1 to position home, pos H. Okay, so you got. It says up 1 because you bring your overall position up 1. And while you're playing that bar, very straightforward, G bass, G chord, G bass, G chord. Okay, so again, go from the beginning. I always do this, particularly at the beginning of a tune, just to assimilate the thing gradually and consolidate what I've already learnt. So there's my first bit. Okay.